So Trump had weighed in on Intel earlier today. We're going to play some audio for you, filled with lies, filled with speculation. Obviously, he's disputing the early U.S. intelligence report on the effectiveness of the U.S.'s strikes on Iran over the weekend. He also said the U.S. will meet with Iran next week. I'm sure that'll happen. This early U.S. intelligence assessment that was described to CNN by sources briefed on said that the U.S. strikes on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities did not destroy the core components of its nuclear program and likely only set it back 1 or 2 months. And of course, Iran is going to say publicly that, yeah, they destroyed everything because they don't want the U.S. continuing, or Israel continuing, to attack them. And, you know, the Israeli intelligence, as I've said before and I say again, I don't believe a word that Benjamin Netanyahu says. Both sides, Israel and Iran, are accusing the other of violating the truth hours immediately after the ceasefire was put in place. Yet the Trump administration and MAGA Republicans are celebrating because nobody's bombed anybody in the last 15 hours. It's ridiculous. And what the Trump administration has been doing over the course of the last 24 to 48 hours is, once again, attacking the media, blaming the media. And they're claiming that the media is attacking service members who bravely participated in the Iran bombing. This was the moment in the presser today where Donald Trump started speaking, and then his little lapdog, the woman abuser Pete Hegseth, takes over. This audio is absurd. It's ridiculous. And it's another example of the media just trying to get down to the truth on the intelligence question, and the Trump administration and Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth completely bald-faced lying and deflecting. Have a listen to this.
So people like you picked up and said, oh, it's not severe.
We're just looking for
the report was not a complete report. Yeah, the message was probably wait till you know the answer before you...
And sir, did you not have a public component to your Zelensky meeting for a tactical reason with President Putin?
Let him answer this.
Hello, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah. There's a reason the president calls out fake news for what it is. These pilots, these refuelers, these fighters, these air defenders, the skill and the courage it took to go into enemy territory flying 36 hours on behalf of the American people and the world to take out a nuclear program is beyond what anyone in this audience can fathom. And then the instinct of CNN, the instinct of the New York Times is to try to find a way to spin it for their own political reasons, to try to hurt President Trump or our country. They don't care what the troops think. They don't care what the world thinks. They want to spin it to try to make him look bad based on a leak. Of course, we've all seen plenty of leakers. And what do leakers do? They have agendas. And what do? Do they share the whole information or just the part that they want to introduce? And when they introduce that preliminary report that's deemed to be a low assessment, you know what a low assessment means? Low confidence in the data in that report. And why is there low confidence? Because all of the evidence of what was just bombed by 12 30,000-pound bombs is buried under a mountain, devastated and obliterated. So if you want to make an assessment of what happened at Fordo, you better get a big shovel and go really deep, because Iran's nuclear program is obliterated. And so
let me be very clear on what you just heard. That is bald-faced deflection. You couldn't find me one member of the media that has attacked the service members and the pilots. Not one. And I would ask them, can you name me one member of the media that's done that? They couldn't. This is deflection from what I would consider to be a very, very legitimate question. How bad was Iran affected? A completely legitimate question to ask. They're not giving us answers. Donald Trump thinks this. The Trump administration thinks that. Well, what about this report, intelligence briefing, whatever you would like to call it, that was leaked to CNN? You want to attack CNN? Attack the person who leaked it. Somebody in your administration leaked it. And in that report, it is very clear that the U.S. strikes on 3 Iran nuclear facilities did not destroy the core components of the nuclear program. It only set it back a month or 2. But you see, they don't want to talk about that. Of course, Iran is going to say that they were obliviated. because they don't want the U.S. to continue to attack them. They don't want Israel to continue to attack them. Of course they're going to say that. We know Iran had a few days' notice. You think they would keep everything there? Does that make any sense to anybody? It's bald-faced deflection. That's exactly what Pete Hegseth is doing. It's exactly what Donald Trump is doing. It's exactly what the administration is doing. They're going to declare victory, win, 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 just like Donald Trump did the other day when it came to this ceasefire that was broken 2 hours into it. And now we're supposed to celebrate because in the last 24 hours there hasn't been any bombings. This is bald-faced deflection. You want to call it lying? It very well might be. We have no intelligence to suggest that the United States carried out their objective, which was to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities, which they assumed they might have had, again, going against our own intelligence to what Tulsi Gabbard said under oath and listening to the intelligence of Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, which I have a serious problem with, by the way. The same intelligence that told us weapons of mass destructions. Remember that? So the media is asking, Caitlin Collins and CNN and other reporters that are doing their due diligence are asking a question that the American people deserve to know and that the politicians deserve to know. If they had nothing to hide, then why did they cancel a briefing on this with members of Congress in office the other day? Why did they cancel it last minute? If they didn't have anything to hide, why would they do that? The senators deserve to know, our politicians and Congress people deserve to know, and the American people deserve to know how bad Iran was affected by this strike. Why won't the Trump administration brief those elected officials? The only answer that I could come up with is because they have something to hide and or they don't want to tell our politicians and the American people that this was not an effective strike, which I believe that's the truth. All the media wants to do, at least the media that are asking Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump these questions, all they want to know is how badly was Iran affected? And that has nothing to do with attacking the pilots or the brave service members who executed this mission. Has nothing to do with it. How could anybody be okay with this? What an embarrassment Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth looked like today, as they do every day. And here's Donald Trump now talking about what was not in this report, that somehow we destroyed the, quote, nuclear.
We destroyed the nuclear. In other words, it's destroyed. I said, Iran will not have nuclear. Well, we blew it up. It's blown up to kingdom come. And so I don't feel very strongly about it. If we got a document, wouldn't be bad. We're going to meet with them, actually. We're going to meet with them. Yeah.
Unbelievable. We destroyed the nuclear. Our own intelligence tells us that that is not the case. Worst case scenario or best case scenario set back 1 or 2 months. But yet Donald Trump is getting his information from Iran. Is that what I'm understanding? And Donald Trump is asked, is there any indication from U.S. intelligence that Iran was able to move any materials? Have a listen to what Donald Trump had to say to that.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've made clear your position on what impact the strikes had. I wanted to ask you what is next with Iran. For instance, is there any indication from U.S. intelligence that Iran was able to move any material, including
No, we just the
uranium?
opposite. We think we hit them so hard and so fast they didn't get to move. And if you knew about that material, it's very hard and very dangerous to move. It's called in many people, they call it dust, but it's very, very heavy. It's very, very hard to move. And they were way down. You know, they're 30 stories down. They're literally 30, 35 stories down underground.
I think you got it all.
Oh, yeah, we think we think it's covered with granite, concrete, and steel.
Can I ask you?
Interesting, because the first U.S. intelligence report that came out did not feel that way. But you know, Donald Trump thinks that way, so let's just believe him.